Hi, this is Alimayo Arango of littleguyscgi.com, and today I want to show you how to rig some doors very easily, I think, on a house. So let's get started. Okay, if this is your first time in Blender, I recommend you go to File, User Preferences, go to Input, and then choose Select with left click. Blender's default select is with right click, and this may confuse you if you're coming from Windows, Adobe programs, or other 3D programs. Also, if you happen to be on a laptop, if you put a check mark right here and it's emulate number pad, this will make your laptop keyboard number keys at the top of your laptop keyboard respond like the number keys that allow you to move your view on a full keyboard. Okay, this technique it's very easy. It's one of those things I think that falls into it's actually in a way so easy you almost wouldn't think of using it. Because to be honest, even as like I talk about it being easy, I for the longest time I really didn't know what to do as far as animating a door open, and I guess it's just one of those things that seems so simple for the people to know how to do it. It's almost like, well, of course people are gonna know this, so and I didn't know it. So anyway, let's get to it. Okay, and in getting to it, let's make up a house to put these doors on so we can rig them. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to select this cube. You're going to hit X to delete the cube, or X to bring up your delete menu to delete the cube. You're then going to hit Shift A. You're going to look for Mesh Plane. In Blender, you have Object Mode and Edit Mode. Currently, when you start off, you're in Object Mode. You're going to hit Tab to go into Edit Mode. We're going to I'm going to give you some exact numbers as far as the scales. You can do it manually yourself, or you can use the numbers that I give you as we scale. So you're going to hit S to scale, and then you're going to hit 3 on your number keyboard. All right, now what you're going to do is you're going to hit E to extrude, and then you're going to hit 0.5 to extrude up. You're going to left click to lock in. Okay, now you're going to hit I to inset. And then you're going to push your mouse in about like this. Left click to lock in. You're now going to go to in Blender. You use vertices, edges, and faces to select. You're going to go to your face select. You're going to select this face right here. Okay, and with that face selected, you're going to hit E and then 8. And then left click to lock in. Now you're going to hit the 1 on your number keypad to go in the front view. And then while in front view, what you're going to do is you're going to hit Z to go transparent, hit A to make sure nothing is selected. So that orange was selected up here. If you're not sure, you can hit A and you'll see everything be selected. Hit A again, everything will be deselected. Then you're going to hit Control R, which is going to put a loop cut right in the center of this mesh. You're going to left click to lock in. Actually twice, left click twice to lock in. Now you're going to go to your face select. You're going to hit B for box select, and you're going to drag all around all of these faces to the left. Okay, with those selected, you're going to hit X to bring up your delete menu, and you're going to delete faces. With those faces deleted, you're going to take your middle mouse button, go to this menu right here. You're going to pull to the side. I'm holding down my middle mouse button to pull to the side. You're then going to select this wrench looking button, which is your modifier button. This add modifier menu you'll see pop up. You're going to click one of these triangles. Then you're going to go to mirror. Okay, and you'll see like this ghostly image kind of semi-transparent pop up there. What you want to do is you're going to click clipping for now. Let me pull this out. The way you can pull this out to make this bigger is just hover your mouse over here, left click, hold down, and drag. If you click this little triangle looking thing right here, it'll make this look pretty much like the other side. Okay, now you can hit Z to go back to solid mode. You still want to be on your face select. You're going to select right here. You're going to hit E to extrude on the Z axis. And just pull up just a little bit straight up. You're going to left click to lock in. Then you're going to hit S to just widen this out just slightly. You're then going to hit E and then 0.5. Okay, now with this roof selected here, these two faces selected here, you're going to hit I for inset. Okay, I don't want that. So you're going to hit Control Z. Whoops. Okay, we're going to hit E 0.5 again. And now what we're going to do is we're going to hit E to extrude. We're going to left click to lock in. Then we're going to hit S to extrude in. There we go. So hope I didn't confuse you guys with that. By the way, that's an interesting thing I just found out. A lot of times just from Blender before, I tend to hit E to extrude, and then I, that's how I get a new geometry like we did right here. And a bunch of people were saying, why don't you hit I to an inset? And when I just did an inset just now, it was interesting that with the same settings, it made two different faces. It kind of extruded, but anyway, let's take that in a little bit more. I'm going to S the scale to bring it in a little bit more. Then we're going to hit E to extrude, and then hit Z. If you're wobbly like this, hit Z again, and it'll lock in. So you're going to go down just a little bit like that, then left click to lock in. Okay, now you're just going to hit 1 on your number keypad again. Then you're going to move your mouse over your mesh. You're going to hit Control R. You see that purple line right there? That's your loop cut. You're going to roll your mouse one time to get another loop cut. You're going to left click one time, just once, not twice. And because you only left clicked once, you can move your loop cuts up and down. So you're going to move your loop cuts up to about here. You're going to left click to lock in. Now what you're going to do is you're going to go to face select, because loop cut tends to make you automatically go to edge select. So you want to be on face select now. You're going to select here. And then because we want to extrude these in, you know what? I wonder if that inset would work here. Now let's hit I to inset. Oh, look at that. Interesting. See, normally what I would have did is I would have went here. I would have did E to extrude, and then I would have what I would have did was I would have prepared to do E to extrude. I would have turned off clipping, and that basically would have got me this. So I just learned something. What I just learned was if you have two faces selected and you do E to extrude while clipping's on, you'll get one section scaled down. If you do an inset, you'll get two. I don't know. I don't want to confuse you. Hopefully, it's kind of interesting to me. But anyway, with that selected there. Sorry, my brain. I'm just thinking about how I want to do this. And now what you're going to do, still in face select, you're going to select the face right here. You're going to hit Y. This is going to separate that face from the rest of the building. Whoops. With it separated, you're going to take your manipulator and just pull it out a little bit. I'm holding Control, my middle mouse button, to zoom in smoothly. Okay, now I'm going to hit I for inset. I'm just pulling my pushing my middle mouse button. It's going to give me like the edges of the window there. I'm going to hit E to extrude on the Y axis to get the window frame there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Control R to put a loop cut right down the center of the window. I'm going to hit Control R to get another loop cut, and you can see the loop cut adapts to how your mouse is. You want it going horizontally. You're going to roll 2 times, so you should have 3 loop cuts. You're going to left click to lock in, and then left click again a second time to lock in fully. Okay, now with that selected, you're going to go back to your face select. You're going to hit C for paint select. If you roll your mouse, it'll get bigger or smaller. I believe if you're on a keyboard, if you hit page up, nope, that doesn't work. I thought page up and page down would make it get bigger. If somebody knows how to make your paint select get bigger on a keyboard, please let me know. But anyway, with your on a laptop, I mean, it doesn't have mouse, whatever. Anyway, you're gonna grab these faces right here. I'm gonna right click, and I'm gonna hit Control B, and then I'm just gonna pull about like that. Left click to lock in. I'm gonna hold Control, my middle mouse button, and push in. I'm gonna hold Shift in the middle mouse button just to pan a little bit. And then I'm gonna hit E to extrude on the Y axis. Just pull these out just a little bit. I'm gonna left click to lock in. Hold my middle mouse button just to tilt. I'm going to now select these two faces here. I'm going to hold Shift to select both of them. I'm going to hit E to extrude on the Y axis just to bring out this bottom lip just a little bit. Okay, now with those two pieces selected, one very useful thing in Blender is you have one piece of an object that's separated, selected. You hit Control L, and it grabs the whole thing. So for now, we're just going to take our manipulator and just push this back in for now. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to hit Control R to put a loop cut in, and then because we only hit Control R, we can move it. I just gotta, if I click, okay, my brain. But you want one loop cut in about here. Now you're going to hit Control R to put another loop cut in. And this is basically going to be the size of these doors. And basically what we're making here is, I'm thinking of it like a doorway. So like if a car was in here, these doors could open up. And that's basically the main hinge joint thing I wanted to show you. So if there was a car in here, or mech or something else, these doors could open up and they could open out, the thing could come out of it. So you're going to go to your vertice, select here. You're going to select this vertice. Push up just slightly. Actually, you know what? Hit Control Z. Sorry. Hit Control L to put another loop cut in. Move it to about here. Left click to lock it in. You can left click to lock it in totally. Okay, with your vertice select, now what you're going to do is pull up just slightly there, and then take this vertice here, of course it's mirrored there, and just pull this up. So we'll give the door a little bit more of an arch. So I pull up just a little bit higher. Yeah, I like that better. Okay, now what you're going to do is you're going to go to your face select. You're going to hold Shift. And while holding Shift, you're going to select here and here. I'm going to hold Control, my middle mouse button, and push on my mouse just to zoom in a little bit. I'm going to hold Shift and the middle mouse button to pan up. Then I'm going to hit E to extrude. I'm going to left click to lock in. I just did that extrude to create new geometry. Inset will do it also. Like I said, just during this tutorial, I'm learning things about inset and extrude, but I tend to, they almost do the same thing. I tend to fall back on E to extrude, don't pull or push. I create new geometry, and then the new geometry I'm able to scale it. So anyway, we extrude it. We didn't push or pull anywhere. Now we're going to hit S to extrude down some. These are basically going to be our doors. Okay, and with these selected, we're going to hit S to scale on the Z axis. We're just going to pull just about like that. I'm going to left click to lock in, then we're just going to push these doors down, not past the line there, just close to them. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to, with face select still on, we're going to left click here, we're going to hold Shift. And while holding Shift, we're selecting right here. Then we're going to hit E to extrude on the Y axis. Pull out just a little bit of thickness like that. Now we're going to click here. Then we're going to click here. And when I clicked, the reason why I didn't say Shift first is when I clicked here, it automatically deselects there. So now I'm going to hold Shift after selecting here. And then I select this, and now we have all the doors. So I'm going to hit Y, which is separating these doors. Whoops. I hit Y, and I made a mistake. So you just hit Y, and you can just pull these doors right out like this. Now what you're going to do is hit E to extrude on the Y axis to give these doors some thickness, like that. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to hit tab. We've been in edit mode pretty much this whole time. We're going to hit tab. You can see we're in edit mode here. We hit tab to go into object mode. And now that we're in object mode, what we're going to do is we're going to apply this mirror modifier. So right now there's actually, if I click this eye, you can see we actually only worked on half of this house. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit apply, and it's going to take this second half, and it's actually going to be there now. So we hit apply, it's now actually there. Okay, now we're going to hit tab to go back in. And what we're going to do now is we're going to, with face select on, we're going to hold shift, select this half of the door, and get the front and the back and the bottom. Make sure you have the whole, pretty much the whole thing. And then now what you're going to do is you're going to hit P. Actually, you know what? Yeah, you're going to hit P to, that P allows you to separate this mesh that's in edit mode to make it its own separate object. So now if you look here, this plane is actually the house. So for us to be able to click it and affect it, we have to go into object mode. So if I click here, you'll see, here's the other part of the door. Here's the house right here. As a matter of fact, if I take this eye away, you'll see that the house disappears. So I'm actually going to name this now. So let me just double click there. I'm going to put house in. And then for this, I'm going to double click and I'm going to put door.r in. Okay, now I'm actually going to hide this door. Click back on the house, and since I'm clicked on it, I can go hit tab to go back in edit mode. I'm going to select this door. I'm going to select just this face here. I'm going to hit Control L to grab the entire thing. Now I'm going to hit P to separate this part of the mesh to make it become its own object, and then we're going to name this, of course, door.l. So I'm going to hit P to separate. The separate menu, it says separate by selection by material. We're going to select separate by selection. So now you can see there's a door there. So we'll double click here. Name this door. Alright, and then with this selected, we'll go in edit mode here. So we're in object mode. You can see here with this select, we're going to hit tab. We're going to go to vertice select. And we're going to hit, excuse me. We're going to hit, see how this manipulator can get in your way sometimes. If it gets in your way, hit Control Space. It'll just temporarily take it out of the way. With this one vertice here selected, I'm going to hold shift. While holding shift, I'm clicking these other vertices. And now with those 4 vertices selected, I'm going to hit F to fill that in. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit tab to come out of here. I'm going to actually hide this door, bring back the other door, left click on here. Now I'm going to hit tab to go into the object mode here. And I'm going to do the same thing as far as filling this door in. So I'm going to, with vertices selected one, I'm going to select this vertice, hold shift, select these vertices here. I'm going to hit F, which is fill. So it just fills that door in there. Okay, I'm going to hit tab to go back in object mode. I'm going to bring this door back. I'm actually going to, with this door still selected, I'm going to hit tab to go back into edit mode. Okay, the reason we came back into edit mode was so we could actually do this. As I learn more and more about Blender, I find myself using this almost constantly, it seems. So what I did is that with face select, I'm just selecting this edge here. You're going to hit Shift S, brings up the snap menu, and the thing that I'm using constantly, I find out almost is always cursor, is very often anyway, cursor to selected, puts the cursor right there. Okay, now with the cursor right there, we're going to hit tab to go back into object mode. While in object mode and with the cursor right there, right on the edge like we want it to be, and with the door still selected, you're going to select Object, Transform, and then you're going to put Origin to 3D Cursor. And what this will allow this door to do is to swing right here off this origin, just like a just like a door hinge. And I'll show you that now. With it still selected, I'm going to hit R to rotate on the Z axis. And you can see it, swings like we want it to. I'm going to right click to lock in. I mean, not to lock in, sorry. I right click to actually not lock in to go back to, so I wasn't stuck with that, transform on that rotate. So with this cursor right here in Blender, wherever the cursor's at is where your objects come in at. I'm going to hit Shift A. I'm going to go to empty. Empty is basically a non-renderable object. I love empties for rigging mechanical things. Empties are awesome. So we're going to select an empty. We're going to select cube. And we're going to shrink this cube. That looks good. Okay, and with that cube shrank like that, this cube is going to allow us to basically have a nice handle for this door to easily be able to move it. So just for the way it looks when we're manipulating it, I want the empty to look exactly the same on the other side. So to do that, a nice way, and if you haven't seen this before, this is very good to know, when you're dealing with symmetrical objects, how to get it the same object, the same exact position, everything pretty much exactly the same on the other side. This is very useful. You're going to hit 1 to go in the front view. You're then going to hit Shift C to put the cursor directly in the center. You want the cursor directly in the center. And then what you're going to do is you're going to click here and you're going to go to 3D cursor. And what this means is everything will rotate, pivot off of this 3D cursor. So now I have the empty selected, right? As a matter of fact, let me name this empty hinge.r. I'm going to hit Shift D to duplicate the empty, right? So I'm going to right click. When I hit Shift D, all I did was pull my mouse. I didn't click anything. That's why you saw it move. And then when I right click, it snapped right back into place. Okay, so I'm selected on the new empty that was made, which is right here, you can see. So what I'm going to do, and remember, this has to be set up for this to work. I'm going to hit S to scale on the x-axis -1. And then I'm going to left click to lock in. And what that does, it just gives me a copy of that empty, literally, exactly on the other side, same, size, everything. Okay, now with that empty set up, I'm going to select this door right here. And remember, I already set up this door so that the origin point is right here on the edge, right where the empty is at. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hold Shift. I'm going to select this empty while holding Shift. Then I'm going to hit Control P, and I'm going to select Parent to Object. So now, basically, that empty right now, when I hit R and then Z, oh crap. Oh, that's why. You have to make sure you change this back to median point. So now when I hit R and Z, there it goes. So you can see it's just like how we want it to be. All right, so on the other side, you're going to left click on this door, right? So we're in object mode. We're going to hit tab because we didn't set the origin point to be right on that hinge point. So we're going to, with our face select, we're going to select this door right here. And the only reason why we're in here is to get this cursor to where we need it to be. That's the only reason we came in edit mode as far as this door. So we're going to hit Shift S, which brings up our snap menu. We're going to go to cursor to selected. Now we have what we wanted, the cursor right there. We're now going to hit tab to go back into object mode. We still have this door selected. So now I'm going to go down to object. I'm going to go to transform. And then I'm going to go origin to 3D cursor. And the reason why we're doing this origin 3 to 3D cursor is so that this door will swing right here on this 3D cursor, like a hinge. So now we hit RZ, and you can see it swings just like we want it right there. Now to make it easier, that's what the empty is here for. That's what the empty is there for. So now with the door selected, I'm going to hold Shift, select the empty, and I'm going to hit Control P to object, and now you'll see that when with the empty selected, now the empty will, allow me to, swivel the door like we want. Okay, now right now the way it's set up, if I hit R to rotate on the Y-axis, you see how like the door will go like this. If I hit the Z-axis, X-axis, the door will go like that, which we don't want. We can actually do some small adjustments so that that doesn't happen. This is the N menu right here. So if you don't see it, just hit N. This menu will pop up. See where it says rotation? We want this to rotate just on the Z-axis, and you can see where it says rotation Z. See, you can see how the door is moving there. That's the only way we want it to rotate. So what we can do is just activate these locks. So now when I hit R to rotate on the Y-axis, nothing happens. On the X-axis, nothing happens. But on the Z-axis, there you can see, it's doing what it's supposed to. So we'll do the same thing to the other door. We'll select this empty, and we only want it on the Z-axis, so we'll lock the rotation here. Okay, now what we're going to do is just hold shift, select both these empties. We're going to hit control space to bring back our manipulator, and then we just push the doors in place. And now these doors are set up for animation, so if we want to animate them, we can easily have the doors open and shut. The empties aren't necessary. I like it. I like just having it right there. It's easy to grab. We can easily also do the same thing for the windows. So let's do a very quick repeat, I guess, on the windows. So we'll select the building. We're in object mode. We hit tab. It brings us into edit mode. Also, be aware if you're brand new to Blender, where your mouse is at matters. So if I'm here and I hit tab, nothing happens. And if you're struggling, you're over here and you hit tab, nothing happens. It's because you actually need to be over this window to hit tab, and you'll go into an out of object mode. Okay, here what I'm going to do is I'm going to select with face select. I'm going to select part of this window here. I'm going to hit Control L. I'm going to go to this fairly quickly. I'm going to hold Control just so I snap the window out, just one Blender unit, and holding Control allows you to do that. It's useful because I want this window to be the same distance when it comes out. I'm going to hit P for the selection. So now it is separated from this building. Now you can see over here, you ever get lost with an object you separate, just look for the eye. Turn the eye on and off and you can see it. I'm going to rename this window.r. Okay, and with that set up, I'm going to hit tab. I'm going to select this face right here. Actually, I'll select these two faces right here. I'll hit Shift S, cursor to selected. The only purpose is to get the cursor right there on the edge there. Now I'll go out of object mode by hitting tab. And with the window selected, I'll go to Object, Transform, and then I'll go to Origin to 3D Cursor. Now it's right like we want it, so I'm going to hit R to rotate on the Z-axis. You can see the window, swings open. I'm going to right-click, and now with that there, what I'm actually going to do here, remember we're in object mode, what I'm actually going to do now is I'm going to select this right here. I'm going to hit Shift-D to duplicate this empty right here. And then what I'm going to do, because it's 3D cursor right here, I'm going to hit Shift-S while that empty selected. So remember, I selected the empty. It looks like there's only one empty there, but I duplicated it. So I'm selected on the second duplicated object. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Selection to Cursor. So now you can see that empty popped right up, right to that cursor there. Okay, and with that empty there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold it, select the window, I'm going to hold Shift, and I'm going to select this empty. Then I'm going to hit Control P, set parent to object. So now when I hit RZ, now you can see that this controls the window. So We'll do the same thing for the other window. I'm going to select the building. I'm going to hit tab, takes me into edit mode. I'm going to select any part of the window. I'm going to hit Control L to grab that part of the window. I'm going to hold Control, take my manipulator. Whoops. I selected that by accident. I'm going to hit A to deselect, select any part of the window again. I'm going to hit Control L. And I'm going to hold Control. Oh, look at that. Okay, fine. Hit Control Z just to get off of that. I'm going to hit G. And then Y. And Control. And you get this same effect. Left click to lock in. Okay, now with that selected, I'm going to hit what I did there at G allows you to move it. Y constrained it to the Y axis, and Control just made it, snap into place. Anyway, I'm going to hit P to separate, and this, separate menu pops up. I'm going to select selection, and now I can see here is the window here. I name this window.l. Okay, now this is its own separate object now. So this is an object, this is an object. You want these windows to be, you want the movable objects to be separate, because to be able to animate them, they need to be separate objects. All right. Anyway, with this selected, I'm going to hit tab to go into edit mode here. I'm going to hold Control with the middle mouse button just to zoom in with face select on. I'm going to select this face. I'm going to hit Shift S. Cursor to selected. That's the only reason why we came into edit mode. I'm going to hit tab with the cursor right there. I'm going to hit object, go to transform, and I'm going to go to origin to 3D cursor. That's what allows this to act like a hinge. I'm going to test it out by hitting R to rotate on the Z axis. It works fine. I'm going to select this empty. Now remember, we're in object mode. Just important, because when I first was new, I would forget what modes I'm in. Sometimes it still happens when I'm rigging things. But anyway, I'm selecting this. I'm going to hit Shift D. I duplicated this, right? I didn't click anything. That's why I'm able to move it. I'm going to right click. I'm still selected on the duplicated empty right there. Now what I'm going to do is hit Shift S. And I'm going to hit selection to cursor. That pops my duplicated empty right up here. I'm going to select this window. I'm going to hold Shift, select this empty. I'm going to hit Control P, and then set parent to object. So now when I select this empty, I hit R, Z, it it swings like it's supposed to. And the nice thing is it still has its locks on. Okay, now what I'm going to do, we're still in object mode. I have this empty selected. I'm going to hold Shift and select this one. I'm going to take my manipulator. I'm going to hit Control, hold Control, and then push back one. And now you can see when I grab the empty, I hit RZ. It opens like it's supposed to open. And this is a very easy technique, and as usual, I probably took a long time explaining it. But for those people who didn't know, it could be very useful, because I honestly, as simple as it seems, I didn't know how to set up a door to open. I didn't know. And it's also easy to apply this, to new things. Suppose we want it like a trapdoor right here. We'll select this building. We'll hit tab to go in edit mode. We'll hit Control R to put a loop cut in. We'll roll one time to get 2 loop cuts. Left click one time to get them to lock in partially. We'll hit S to scale on the Y axis. Spread this out a little bit. We'll take the manipulator, push it back that way just a little. I'm going to go to face select. I'm going to select this face right here. Actually, I don't want that. I want these 2 faces right here. And when you see me pushing P, I am separating a part of the mesh to be its own separate object. When I hit Y, I'm separating a part of the mesh to be separate in physical space, but it's still part of the object that it's in. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to hit Y, and then I'm going to take the manipulator. I'm going to hold Control and pull this up. I'm going to hold Control and push it over one time. I'm going to select this face and this face here. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to hit Y. I'm going to hold Control, and pull this up. While holding control, I'm going to push this to the side. Now I'm going to hit E to extrude on the Z axis to bring this up a little bit. I'm going to hit Control L. I'm going to select right here. I'm going to hit Control L to grab the whole thing. I'm going to hit E to extrude on the Z axis to bring this up just a little bit. Left click to lock in. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I am going to hold Control, push this over. Whoops. Control Z. I'm going to hold Control L to grab the entire thing. I'm going to hold Control, push this over one time, over one Blender unit. I'm going to hold, select this face, hit Control L. I'm going to hold Control. What the heck? Hold Control. Push this over one Blender unit. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to hit P to separate this. Alright, so you can see it's separated there. I'm going to double click on it. I'll name this trapdoor.r. Hit tab to go inside. So now this is its own separate object. We're back in here. I'm going to select right here. I'm going to hit Shift S, cursor to selected. Now we got what we wanted from there. I'm going to hit tab to go back out. I'm going to grab this empty right here. I'm going to hit Shift D. You can see it empty there. I'm going to right click. I'm now going to hit Shift S, selection the cursor. The empty pops up there, right where I want it. I'm going to select the house again. I'm going to hit tab to go in edit mode. I'm going to select this part of this trapdoor right here. I'm going to hit Control L to grab the whole thing. I'm going to hit P to separate this selection. You can see there it is right now, highlight and orange. I'll hit the I just to make sure. I'll name this trapdoor.L. Now this is its own separate object. I'll hit edit to go back and to go into its own. That looks like I skewed it a little bit. It's fine for now. In edit mode here, same thing. Shift S, cursor to selected. I'll hit tab to go out. I messed up on the other one. Okay, so with the cursor here, I'll go to object. This is, I actually forgot. I'll go to object, and then I'll go to origin to 3D cursor. Now with that, I'll go to this empty. I'll hit Shift D. You can see here's a copy right here. I'll right click to lock in, to not lock in actually. I'll hit Shift S. I'll hit selection to cursor. So now that empty is in place. So now I'll select this trapdoor. I'll select the empty. I'll hit Control P to object, and now it should be, when I rotate on the Y-axis, but it has its locks on there. So what I'm going to do is, with this empty selected, I'm going to hit N. I'm going to go up to here, and I'm going to unlock Y and lock Z. So now it should be rotate on the Y, and it's just like I want. I forgot on this side to reset the origin right here. So now we're going to select here. I'm going to hit Tab. I'm going to go into, oh good, it's still selected right there. I'm going to hit Shift S, cursor to selected. That's all I wanted, was the cursor right there. I'm going to hit Tab. I'm now with this still selected. I'm going to go to Object, Transform. I'm going to go to Origin to 3D Cursor. Now that this hinge joint is set right, and with this still selected, I'm going to hold Shift. I'm going to select this empty right here. I'm going to hit Control P, set parent to object. And now this is probably still going to have the same problem here. You can see our locks. We need to have Y unlocked and X locked and Z locked. So now I hit R to rotate on the Y axis. That's set up right. Now I'm going to select this empty, hold Shift, select this empty here, push this back down into place. This next thing I'm going to show you guys is kind of cool. I can't believe this tutorial, even myself, it's supposed to be a very little short That's what I thought. Anyway, it's going to be a super short tutorial, but I do want to show you this next thing. This is actually pretty cool. Okay, so now that you have this stuff rigged, what you can do is what we're going to do is we're going to select the building, right? We're going to hit Shift A. Whoops, not Shift A. Sorry, you're going to select the building. We're going to hit Shift S, cursor to selected. And what we're going to do is we're going to hit, now we're going to hit Shift A. We're going to bring in an empty, a cube. We're going to hit S to scale. We're going to hit S to scale in the Z axis. And what this empty is going to do, I'm going to hit S to scale to make it a little bit bigger. This empty is basically going to be, sorry, I'm just adjusting it. I want it to be easy to grab but not look like it's in the way, even though it's really not because it's an empty. I'm going to hold Control and my middle mouse button to zoom in. I'm going to hold Shift and the middle mouse button to pan up. Now what you're going to do is you're going to select the house. You're going to hold Shift. You're going to select the empty. You're going to hit Control P. And you're going to set parent to object. You're now going to hit, you're going to hold Shift. You're going to select all of the empties. So I'm just holding Shift, selecting all of them. I let go of Shift temporarily to take my middle mouse button to hold my middle mouse button so I can turn the view. I'm just push Shift again now. So I'm holding Shift to reselect them. Now I'm going to hold Shift again and select this master empty here. I'm going to hit Control P and then click Object Keep Transform. And I'm going to name this the master empty. And basically what this allows us to do is now we can just sit here and grab this entire house and move it. And you might say, okay, you know, what's the advantage of that? Well, the advantage of that is basically, now let me take you very quickly. If you wanted to do a environment scene with Shift A, we'll bring in a plane. I'm going to hit S to scale. Take my manipulator and just push it up just slightly. Okay, so you have this plane here. Suppose we want to have a dupe. Now this building, you know, it's kind of like I said, I put these doors here because I imagine like a car or something coming out of here. But imagine this was like a more normal building. What we're going to do is with this selected right here, this plane, we're going to select this arrow right here, which will make this non-selectable. So even if I want to select this, as long as this arrow is not visible, I can't select that. Move this out of the way. The reason why I did that was so I could hit Z. I'm going to hold Control, my right mouse button. I'm going to grab this house. I'm going to grab the empties, everything. And now I'm going to do is hit Shift D. And then I'm going to left click to lock in. Now I'm going to hit I'm just going to pull this over. I'm going to hit Shift D again. Pull this over. Shift D again. Pull this over. And now with those there, oh, this thing is getting duplicated. Get this out of the way. Now I'm going to hold Control and my right mouse button. I'm going to select all of these houses. They're empties, everything. I'm going to hit Shift D, left click to lock in. I'm going to take my manipulator and just pull back. Shift D, left click to lock in. And like I said, this building itself looks kind of different, you know, because it has the two big doors. But you can imagine if those were regular city buildings, all of these buildings are rigged. And just to show you how it looks, show you how it looks with something popping out. You know, here's a door here, and you You can see a tank from a previous tutorial just, popping out the doors right there. One of the things also with this tutorial is this is set up for the windows on the house, but as far as this tank right here, there's like a door right here. This technique could easily be set up to have this door open up. It also easily allow you to rig car doors, car doors, almost any kind of door you can think of. It's a easy way to set up and have it, a door to be easily able to be used. So that's it for the tutorial, guys. Hope you got something out of this, especially after listening to me ramble on and on about something as simple as rigging doors. For all you guys who like these videos and reshare them, thank you. I really appreciate it. For those of you who are new to this channel, if you like these videos and tutorials and you would like to see more, please subscribe, and thank you for viewing.